In Hollywood, they say genetics are the ultimate headshot, and for some celebrity families, the apple doesn't just fall from the tree, it lands squarely on the Walk of Fame. We're talking about startling mirror images and moments of genetic deja vu. These celebrity offspring didn't just inherit a famous surname, they inherited the exact same face. So you think you can tell them apart? Prepare to be mistaken. The resemblances we're about to show you are so profound, they'll make you question your own eyes. Kicking things off are Arnold and Patrick Schwarzenegger, the next generation of Hollywood's most formidable action legacy. Just try to imagine catching your reflection and seeing a younger modern-day version of the Terminator staring right back at you. For Patrick Schwarzenegger, a rising actor, model and savvy entrepreneur, that's just a regular part of his day as the son of the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger. When you first see them together, it's almost startling. The jawline, the intense gaze, the confident posture, it's like dusting off a time capsule from 1980s cinema and pressing play. However, this uncanny resemblance is far more than just skin deep. Patrick isn't merely his father's carbon copy. He's also his spiritual successor in the ambition department, being raised by a man who conquered bodybuilding, Hollywood and politics, set an impossibly high bar. Yet Patrick never buckled under the pressure. Instead, he embraced the discipline training, not only his body, but his mind and his business acumen. He absorbed every lesson from watching his father command attention in every situation, and now he's creating his own spotlight. But this chapter of the family saga isn't just about physical strength, it's about a strategic mission. From landing compelling roles in independent films to making shrewd investments, Patrick is meticulously crafting a new definition of what it means to be a Schwarzenegger. He's not on a mission to repeat his father's iconic history. He is here to build upon it and evolve it for a new era. And if you're doubting his potential, you haven't been paying attention. This new generation Schwarzenegger isn't just making a comeback. His reign is only just beginning. Next, we have Madonna and Lourdes Leon, where the Queen of Pop's reflection has come to life. What happens when a cultural icon has a daughter? You get the heir to the throne. Except this time she's not waiting to be crowned. She's forging her own kingdom entirely on her own terms. Lourdes Leon, known to many as Lola, didn't just get her mother's smouldering stare and famously sculpted cheekbones. She also received a full dose of Madonna's legendary rebellious spirit. From her very first public appearances, the world couldn't believe the resemblance. It was like seeing a ghost from the 1990s, the exact same arched eyebrows, the sharp cheekbones, and that unmistakable aura of effortless style. You'd swear you were looking at a photograph from another era, but that's precisely where the story takes a fascinating turn. Lourdes has absolutely no interest in living within Madonna's colossal shadow. She's creating her own light, intensely private, fiercely opinionated, and wonderfully unapologetic about who she is. She is defining her own legacy through cutting-edge fashion, provocative art, and an unwavering commitment to self-expression. One day she might be walking a high-fashion runway completely barefoot, and the next she could be rejecting the entire concept of celebrity culture itself. In a now iconic Instagram post, Madonna shared a split image of herself from back in the day next to a current photo of Lourdes. The caption was minimal because it didn't need to be. The picture spoke volumes. Physical beauty is clearly genetic, but a rebellious heart is a legacy. Lourdes absolutely has her mother's face, but she's using it to write a brand new rulebook. She's doing it one defiant look, one powerful statement, and one unforgettable artistic choice at a time. And now for Tina and Solange Knowles, the celebrated matriarch and her creative muse. In a dynasty filled with superstars, the most profound influence can sometimes be the quietest. Tina Knowles didn't just raise Beyoncé and Solange. She was their original blueprint. And when a vintage photograph of a 15-year-old Tina surfaced, the internet collectively gasped because it wasn't a simple likeness, it was a perfect mirror. She was the absolute double of her daughter, Solange. It was a viral moment of collective déjà vu that sent shockwaves through social media. They shared the same soulful almond-shaped eyes, the luminous skin, and that signature look of cool artistic self-assurance. But beyond the shared DNA, the inheritance Tina gave Solange was something far more profound: an innate sense of style, a deep connection to her soul, and unshakable self-worth. Solange is no one's understudy. She is a whole vibe, a universe unto herself. A groundbreaking singer, a visionary artist, and a woman who masterfully turns quiet moments into powerful poetry. And Tina is the very foundation of it all. The woman who instilled in her daughters the importance of entering any space with undeniable purpose and leaving it forever altered. When Tina posted that teenage photo of herself back in 2024, her caption was humble, but her followers saw the deeper truth. The physical resemblance was truly uncanny, but the legacy of strength was even more apparent. Solange was gifted not just with her mother's features, but with her bravery, her artistic grace, and her inner fire. In an industry fixated on fleeting fame, the Knowles women represent something much more enduring. They embody a generational elegance that never needs to scream to command the world's attention. Finally, Will and Jaden Smith mirror images with minds on the same wavelength. If modern Hollywood were a kingdom of cool, the Smiths would undoubtedly be the royal family. And within that kingdom, Will and Jaden reign as the dual kings of effortless confidence. The father charmed an entire generation with his fresh prince charisma. The son then rewrote the handbook on individuality with his quiet defiance and boundary-pushing personal style. Place a photo of a young Will Smith beside one of Jaden today, and it's like watching a video rewind and play simultaneously. You see the same expressive eyes and that trademark confident smile. They both radiate an energy that declares, "I know exactly who I am, even if you don't understand it yet." But their twinning goes way beyond the physical. Jaden didn't just get his father's famous face, he also inherited his relentless drive to question conventions, to push boundaries, and to consistently surprise everyone. In a world where the standard playbook for success in music, fashion, or film often leaves people shattered, Jaden Smith refuses to read from the script. Instead, he writes his own, often with abstract and completely unpredictable brushstrokes. While Will is the quintessential showman, Jaden is the living statement. And whenever they are seen side by side, whether on a massive stage during interviews or even just sitting in silence, the chemistry between them is absolutely electric. It's like witnessing two different versions of the same soul, simply composed in different musical keys. They don't merely look alike, their minds work in a similar fascinating rhythm, and that's precisely what makes them so unforgettable. Demi Moore and Rumor Willis. A facial resemblance so uncanny it borders on the surreal. You have your typical lookalikes, and then you have the staggering similarity between Demi and Rumor. These are two women who could easily break the internet simply by standing in the same frame. When Rumor uploaded a snapshot with her mother way back in 2015, the internet didn't just gasp in surprise, it practically glitched out. They had on matching black frame glasses, coordinating outfits, and virtually identical expressions. Fans were left with just one burning question: which one is the mother and which is the daughter? But their striking resemblance extends far beyond their wardrobe choices or their famously strong jawlines. You can see it in their posture and the very way they carry themselves, always poised, incredibly powerful, and utterly unbothered by anyone else's expectations. Demi, the definitive 90s icon who obliterated boundaries in blockbusters like Ghost and G.I. Jane, raised a daughter who doesn't just look like her, she fundamentally channels her spirit. Rumor clearly possesses her mother's distinctive bold features, her signature smoky gaze, and her ingrained refusal to ever play small in a world that might expect her to. And while being the offspring of both Demi Moore and the legendary Bruce Willis might sound like the ultimate Hollywood fantasy, Rumor never once coasted on her famous last name. She consistently put in the hard work. From starring on Broadway to taking roles in independent films and ultimately winning Dancing with the Stars, she has successfully built a formidable reputation that stands firmly on its own merit. Nevertheless, when they make a public appearance together, it's as if time itself bends and folds. You see a mirror, a flood of memories, and a powerful reminder all at once. It proves that sometimes the most potent form of beauty is the kind that is passed from a mother to her daughter, flawlessly, fearlessly, and right there for the world to see face to face. Rashida Jones and Peggy Lipton, a family legacy that is written in pure grace. There is something undeniably and hauntingly elegant about the profound bond between Rashida Jones and her late mother, the great Peggy Lipton. It isn't just visible in their shared almond-shaped eyes or their elegantly sculpted cheekbones. It's in the very atmosphere around them, that quiet confidence, that deep sense of purpose that seems to be wrapped in silk. Peggy was a true 60s icon, the definitive flower child who transitioned into a television star and illuminated shows like The Mod Squad and Twin Peaks with her gentle strength and understated magnetism. Many decades later, Rashida would step onto the sets of modern classics like The Office and Parks and Recreation, bringing with her that very same brand of understated, captivating brilliance. She is witty, she is fierce, and she is absolutely impossible to forget. The physical resemblance between them is unmistakable, of course, but it is their shared energy that truly stirs you. Photographs of them together feel less like mother-daughter portraits and more like looking at mirrored timelines. A younger Peggy in a grainy vintage film still could easily be mistaken for Rashida today. And in the present day, Rashida carries the echoes of her mother in every single one of her thoughtful pauses and expressions. But what Rashida truly inherited from her goes well beyond physical beauty. She inherited an incredible depth of character and intellect, armed with a Harvard degree, a prominent voice in political discourse, and a writing talent that has produced documentaries and screenplays. Rashida is every bit the artist her mother was just navigating a different cultural era. Peggy passed away in 2019, but her incredible spirit continues to linger in Rashida's voice, her career choices, and her notable grace under intense pressure. Their legacy isn't merely genetic. It is generational power and influence beautifully wrapped in timeless elegance. Goldie Hawn and Kate Hudson, undeniably Hollywood's golden girls. From one generation to the next, some stars are destined to shine. However, these two women absolutely sparkle. Goldie Hawn has always seemed like pure sunshine bottled up and given human form. She is effortlessly hilarious, radiantly blonde, and possesses a charm that is completely unshakable. And when her daughter, Kate Hudson, burst onto the Hollywood scene in Almost Famous, it was as if the spotlight had rediscovered her mother's incredible glow all over again. Their resemblance is truly uncanny, yes, but what continues to captivate everyone is their shared energy. It's that magnetic combination of mischievousness and pure magic of high-end glamour delivered with a knowing wink. From their perpetually tousled golden locks to their signature megawatt smiles, Kate serves as a walking time capsule of Goldie at the height of her fame. But let's be clear, this is not a story about simple imitation. This is a story of powerful inheritance. Kate didn't just happen to get her mother's good looks. She inherited her impeccable comedic timing, her magnetic personal warmth, and her natural instinct to completely light up every single room she enters. Whether she's the leading lady in romantic comedies or launching her very own global wellness empire, Kate infuses a Goldie-style joy into every project she undertakes, but always with her own modern twist. And when you see them together, it feels like Hollywood is gazing into its own heart. It is a beautiful celebration of legacy, of endless laughter, and of two incredible women who have made the entire world a little bit brighter just by being their authentic selves. They don't just have shared DNA, they clearly share the same magical stardust. Melanie Griffith and Dakota Johnson, they have stardom flowing through their blood and an unmistakable fire in their eyes. In this town, Hollywood royalty isn't just a fancy title. It represents a true lineage of talent. And when it comes to Melanie Griffith and Dakota Johnson, it is a legacy written in bold red lips, hauntingly beautiful eyes, and a scene-stealing talent that can't be denied. Melanie, who became famous for her roles in films like Working Girl and Lolita, was the kind of screen siren who possessed the unique ability to make vulnerability look incredibly powerful. She in turn inherited her own measure of stardust from her famous mother, the classic Alfred Hitchcock muse Tippi Hedren. But her daughter Dakota, she represents the third act in this dynasty, and she is perhaps the most daring and audacious of them all. When Dakota Johnson emerged on the global stage in 50 Shades of Grey, the entire world took a collective blink, completely captivated. This wasn't merely the offspring of two Hollywood heavyweights with Don Johnson completing the iconic parental duo. She represented an entirely new breed of celebrity, poised cool-headed and crackling with a subtle yet powerful energy. And if you look just a little bit closer, the parallels between her and her mother at that same point in life were absolutely striking. The structure of their faces aligns perfectly, as does their composure under intense scrutiny, and even a similar playful, almost cat-like charm they both exhibit in interviews. However, Dakota is by no means a carbon copy. She is a continuation of a legacy, and a remarkably bold one. In a 2020 Instagram post, Melanie Griffith showcased a stunning series of portraits that spanned 3 generations: herself, Dakota, and her own mother, Tippi Hedren. The result was absolutely mesmerising, almost like leafing through a family album where the images come to life. It's a place where time seems to freeze, and each picture conveys the same powerful message. While talent might be innate, the fire within is passed from one generation to the next. Meryl Streep and Mamie Gummer, a masterclass in the art of inheriting greatness. When your own mother is universally hailed as the most brilliant actress of our time, choosing to follow that same career path isn't just courageous, it's a truly radical act. Mamie Gummer didn't just receive Meryl Streep's instantly recognisable bone structure, she was also gifted her mother's incredible instincts, her natural elegance, and a quiet sense of defiance. You might not make the connection from her last name alone, but the second Mamie graces the screen, you feel that familiar spark. There's a certain echo in her expressions, a unique quality in the way she delivers a line with a whole world of emotion shimmering just below the surface. This is far beyond simple imitation. It's a living legacy, something inherited in her very being, not just performed for a camera. Meryl, with her staggering 21 Academy Award nominations and a career defined by complete transformation, almost never plays a version of herself. Mamie conversely brings an unfiltered, authentic quality to her roles, grounded, intelligent, and emotionally unguarded. She has commanded Broadway stages, headlined independent films, and meticulously built her career on pure grit and talent, not on the glamour of her family name. When you see them standing next to each other, the family resemblance is nothing short of breathtaking. They share the same porcelain skin, the same fierce intelligence burning in their eyes, and the same refined posture. And in every single photograph of them together, you can sense a profound, quiet pride, not just in their similarities, but in their shared worthiness. Mamie Gummer doesn't stand in her mother's colossal shadow. Instead, she walks confidently and proudly right alongside it, entirely on her own terms. And in doing so, she serves as a powerful reminder that when greatness is passed down, it doesn't need to be duplicated. It has the potential to be completely reimagined. Tom Hanks and Colin Hanks, a clear case where kindness is genetic. While some families pass down precious jewels or antique furniture, the Hanks family legacy is pure, unadulterated charm. Tom Hanks has long been celebrated as America's most beloved and relatable leading man. He is perpetually likeable, naturally gifted, and possesses a unique ability to make us weep with laughter one moment and heartbreak the next. So when his son, Colin Hanks, first started appearing in films and television audiences, everywhere had to do a collective double take. It wasn't just because of the startling physical resemblance, which is truly uncanny, but because he radiated the exact same approachable energy. That warm and slightly self-aware demeanour, the impeccable comedic timing, and the deep sincerity. Colin isn't just doing an impression of his famous father. He is simply being himself. And it turns out that being himself is fundamentally, quintessentially Hanks. Whether he's in cult comedies like Orange County or taking on weightier roles in acclaimed series like Fargo and The Offer, Colin has skillfully built a career based on his own merit, not his last name. Nevertheless, he handles the constant comparisons with a good-natured smile. He even once shared screenshots from fans who are constantly mistaking pictures of him for a young Tom Hanks. His witty caption was simply, "Pure Hanks." Humorous, gracious, and just a little bit nerdy. It's incredibly easy to see where that comes from. The father and son duo don't merely share a similar face, they also share a core belief that fundamental decency is what truly matters, and that powerful acting doesn't need to be loud or showy. It just needs to feel utterly real. In an industry notorious for huge egos and even larger-than-life performances, the Hanks men are walking proof that genuine kindness can be the most enduring legacy of all. Willow Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, parallel reflections of rebellion and profound grace. Some mothers pass down cherished family recipes. Jada Pinkett Smith passed down an inheritance of pure, unadulterated power. From their perfectly matched almond-shaped eyes to their calm, almost meditative presence, Willow Smith is without a doubt her mother's daughter. But this striking likeness goes far beyond the surface. It feels like it's rooted in their very souls. During their candid conversations on Red Table Talk, that connection is palpable. You see two remarkable women from two different generations united by a shared lineage of speaking their truth. Jada, the formidable actress who became a groundbreaking talk show host, carved her path in Hollywood with a fire in her spirit and a spine made of steel. Willow, who was born directly into that blaze, discovered at a young age that softness and strength are not opposing forces. They are essential partners. A throwback photograph that Jada posted in 2020 from her own teenage years made fans gasp. With her short hair, a subtle smirk, and that same quiet intensity, the resemblance was astonishing. She was the spitting image of Willow. "It's like viewing the same soul through two different mirrors," one fan commented. And that observation was incredibly astute. But Willow isn't simply following in her mum's footsteps. She's creating her own path, dancing, gliding, and at times seemingly floating above it all. Through her music, her avant-garde fashion choices, and her radical vulnerability, she is actively redefining what it means to be a young black woman under the constant glare of the public eye. She is unapologetic, constantly evolving, and deeply aware. When seen together, they are so much more than just a mother and daughter. They are a living testament to what can happen when women are committed to raising each other up, not just in years, but in shared wisdom, a sense of wonder, and a radical, unconditional love. Uma Thurman and Maya Hawke Cinema's Quiet Storm Reborn. It's often said that some people are just born for the silver screen, and when it comes to Uma Thurman and her daughter Maya Hawke, it's like Hollywood struck gold twice, with the very same stunning features. It's undeniable that Maya received her mother's incredible bone structure and otherworldly charm, but the inheritance goes so much deeper than just that. What she received was far more elusive, an innate screen presence, a captivating quietness that pulls you closer, an unforgettable look that stays with you long after the credits roll. When you see them together, the family likeness is absolutely undeniable. They share the same sharp facial structure, the same endearingly clumsy elegance, and a similar understated strength, yet the real connection lies in the echoes of their acting styles. Think of Uma Thurman's iconic roles in Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill. She masterfully blended brutality with fragility, executing it with the grace of a dancer. Maya Hawke in shows like Stranger Things and the movie Do Revenge taps into that very same dichotomy, a gentle exterior with a sharp edge underneath. Their connection isn't overtly obvious. It's more poetic and subtle. You can spot it clearly in the throwback pictures Uma shares on Instagram snapshots, where the years seem to melt away, making you do a double take to figure out if it's the mother or the daughter in the frame. They are two distinct individuals operating on the same extraordinary wavelength. However, make no mistake, Maya is not simply a carbon copy of her mother. She is her own unique narrative, gifted with a writer's intellect from her father, Ethan Hawke, a husky voice and an aura that feels both anciently wise and refreshingly modern. She is rapidly becoming the beloved indie icon for her generation, earning that status not because of her famous lineage, but entirely on the merit of her own talent and personality. In a culture that is so quick to draw parallels, Maya and Uma serve as a powerful reminder that a genuine legacy is not about creating a repeat performance. Instead, it's a beautiful evolution captured perfectly in the interplay of light and shadow on film and defined by that one perfect, telling close-up shot. Zoe Kravitz and Lisa Bonet, arguably Hollywood's most effortlessly cool family line. While some families manage to pass down fame, the Kravitz-Bonet inheritance was pure, unadulterated cool. Back in the 1980s, Lisa Bonet completely rewrote the rules for alternative beauty with her untamed curls, deeply expressive eyes, and a voice that was both smooth as velvet and defiantly rebellious. She was more than just a famous actress. She was an entire vibe, a whole feeling. Fast forward a couple of decades and her daughter Zoe Kravitz entered the spotlight, creating a sense of déjà vu so strong it was as if Lisa had rewound time itself. Their similarity isn't just physical, it's a shared essence you can feel. They both possess that natural grace, that deep-seated unwillingness to fit into any mould, and a type of beauty so powerful it doesn't need to request your focus, it simply takes it. So when Zoe took the lead role in Hulu's updated version of High Fidelity, a beloved classic that her mother was instrumental in defining the entire entertainment industry, was captivated. This was so much more than a clever casting choice that brought things full circle. It felt like a moment of true generational alchemy. It represented a torch being passed from one generation to the next, with the flame burning just as brightly. But Zoe's mission isn't to copy her mother's path, it's to broaden its horizons. Moving seamlessly from independent cinema to massive blockbuster movies, and from creating music to dominating the fashion world, she navigates different creative spaces as if she were destined to shatter every convention. And perhaps that was her destiny all along. Just look at any candid photograph of them together. It's almost impossible to distinguish where one's influence stops and the other's starts. This connection is about more than just identical bone structure. It's a palpable shared energy, one that is raw, down to earth and utterly magnetic. You could say Lisa Bonet paved the way so that Zoe could fly. And Zoe is ascending to incredible heights, redefining for a new era what it means to inherit not just good looks, but an entire state of being. Next up, Gwyneth Paltrow and Blythe Danner, a mother-daughter pair whose legacy of elegance is etched into their very being. Some forms of beauty aren't loud or demanding. They simply radiate from within. That's the precise inheritance Blythe Danner gifted to her daughter, Gwyneth Paltrow. Blythe, a consummate stage actress with a voice as smooth as silk and eyes that seem to hold countless narratives, once set the benchmark for pure sophistication in both theatre and film. Many years later, her daughter Gwyneth, luminous, polished and incredibly sharp, took up that legacy and successfully carried it into our contemporary era. Fans were absolutely taken aback when Gwyneth posted a vintage photograph of Blythe from her 20s. The family resemblance was more than just remarkable, it was almost supernatural. She even captioned the post, "Is that me or my mum?" And frankly, it was a genuine question. But their similarity extends far deeper than a flawlessly chiseled jawline or a radiant complexion. You see it in the way they carry themselves, in their incredible poise, and in their shared talent for communicating more with a single look than many actors can with a full page of dialogue. Gwyneth inherited her mother's classic elegance and infused it with her own modern cutting edge. This manifested in Academy Award-winning performances, the creation of a massive wellness empire, and a brand that masterfully combines contemporary femininity with bold entrepreneurial spirit. She did more than just follow Blythe's path. She stepped into those footprints, put on a pair of designer heels, and transformed that path into her own personal runway. As a pair, they embody something truly uncommon in the world of Hollywood, a legacy free of ego, immense talent, balanced with genuine warmth and a timeless beauty that seems completely immune to the passing years. Finally, we have Selena Gomez and her mother, Mandy Teefey, whose striking resemblance appears to defy the very concept of generations. In an industry consumed by the glitz of celebrity, Selena Gomez has consistently found her anchor in one constant unwavering truth: her mom, Mandy Teefey. Mandy is far more than just the person who brought her into the world. She is the very source of Selena's resilience and inner strength. Selena frequently gives Mandy credit for moulding her into the person she is today. And when she shared a split-screen image of them both striking the same pose with the same smile and the same glint in their eyes, the internet did a collective double-take. The image didn't so much resemble a mother and her daughter as it did a single person looking at their own reflection across time. Mandy was a young mother, which meant that in many ways she and Selena navigated life and grew up alongside each other. But far from being a hardship, this shared experience forged an unbreakable bond between them. Mandy's role was never just about raising a child. She nurtured a warrior, a visionary, and a woman who learned to transform her struggles into strength and her vulnerability into beautiful art. In terms of appearance, the two are practically identical. A photo of Mandy as a teenager is a dead ringer for Selena at the same age. They share the same kind eyes, the same heart-shaped face, and a palpable sweetness that's underscored by a clear sense of fortitude. Beyond the physical likeness, however, lies a much more profound and deeply emotional connection. Selena Gomez's resilience, her candid conversations about mental well-being, and her profound ability to maintain grace in a brutal industry are all direct reflections of her mother, Mandy's understated fortitude. And with that now famous social media post captioned, "Work Mama, get it from my mama." Selena was doing more than just sharing a light-hearted moment. She was declaring a fundamental truth about her heritage, that the beauty, the power, and the spirit she possesses are an inheritance, a quality that flows through her family's veins, much like with Kendall and Kris Jenner. A destiny on the runway seems to be woven into their very DNA. When Kendall Jenner commands a fashion show, she moves with a natural elegance that appears both completely instinctive and utterly effortless. However, if you observe more closely, you'll notice that behind each measured stride and every perfectly held pose, there's an uncanny sense of having seen it all before. That familiar feeling traces its origins directly back to her mother, the one and only Kris Jenner. While most of the world recognizes Kris as the brilliant architect of the Kardashian-Jenner media dynasty, a true mogul in high heels, long before she built an empire, she was mastering the camera herself. And Kris had already perfected her angles for the lens well before she started managing the careers of her children. In a heartfelt birthday tribute, Kendall posted a collection of Kris's modelling photos from her 20s that absolutely stunned her followers. The physical likeness between mother and daughter was genuinely shocking, and the entire aura they projected was identical. They share the same willowy limbs, that iconic sharp jawline, and a commanding self-assurance that doesn't require words to be understood. It simply radiates from them. While Kendall Jenner stands today as one of the most celebrated supermodels on the entire planet, her signature poise wasn't created in a vacuum. She inherited it, absorbed it from her mother, and then took it to an entirely new level. You could say Kris paved the runway so that Kendall could absolutely conquer it in designer heels. Yet their connection is built on far more than just shared beauty. It's a relationship founded on entrepreneurial spirit, relentless ambition, and a legacy constructed not by chance but by deliberate and powerful vision. Their combined success demonstrates that true style is more than something you wear. It's a quality that is passed from one generation to the next, and within this powerhouse family, the catwalk truly starts at home, just as it does for Kaia Gerber and Cindy Crawford. Theirs is a heritage defined by iconic cheekbones and legendary runways, while some surnames are merely labels. Crawford is a full-blown legacy. When Kaia Gerber made her debut in the pages of Vogue, the reaction from the fashion world wasn't just applause. It was a collective, audible gasp of astonishment, and for good reason. It went beyond her confident walk, her refined poise, or her perfectly sculpted jawline. It was the surreal sensation that the legendary Cindy was gracing the runway once more, not as a copy nor a clone, but as a breathtaking continuation of a dynasty. Cindy Crawford, one of the original supermodels, absolutely dominated the 90s with her trademark beauty mark, chiseled features, and a fiery confidence that captivated the world. Leap forward to today, and her daughter Kaya has risen as a star, possessing that same unforced beauty, natural grace, and an innate mastery of the camera's gaze. A side-by-side comparison of Kaya's high school yearbook photo and Cindy's from the same age reveals an image that is so similar, it's practically a perfect duplicate. And to everyone's delight, it was Cindy herself who proudly posted the comparison, expressing a mixture of pride and genuine amazement at the resemblance. But Kaya is doing much more than simply walking in her mother's famous footsteps. She is carving out her very own legendary path, sprinting ahead in designer stilettos. Having already secured major campaigns with fashion giants like Chanel Saint Laurent and Marc Jacobs before she even turned 20, Kaya has assembled a professional portfolio that most models can only fantasize about. Yet there is a more profound dynamic unfolding here, a generational transfer of elegance, a lesson in wielding influence with a light touch that is powerful, yet never ostentatious. In a culture obsessed with instant celebrity and short-lived trends, Cindy and Kaya serve as a powerful reminder that authentic style never fades. It simply evolves. This is a truth also seen with Gigi and Yolanda Hadid. Born for the catwalk and seemingly built to reign over it in the high-stakes universe of fashion, some models are chanced upon, while others seem preordained for greatness. Gigi Hadid was clearly never just another beautiful face. She came into this world with the essence of the runway embedded in her very being. And when you examine photographs of her mother, Yolanda Hadid, during her own peak modelling years, the similarity is so striking it borders on the surreal. The elongated limbs, the prominent cheekbones, and that signature, effortlessly cool gaze. It is unmistakably all there. But their shared quality extends far beyond physical appearance. There's a certain magnetic presence that both mother and daughter naturally possess. It's an aura that communicates, I don't need to pursue the spotlight because I am the spotlight. Yolanda, prior to her fame as a reality television star, enjoyed a highly successful modelling career throughout the 80s and 90s. And when she shared a throwback picture from an early photo shoot, her followers were absolutely floored. The photograph was so timeless it could have easily been mistaken for a current campaign featuring Gigi No digital manipulation required. Gigi, however, has taken that incredible genetic and professional foundation and has constructed a massive fashion empire all her own. From dominating high fashion runways across the globe to starring in international beauty campaigns, she isn't just following in her mother's designer footsteps, she's elevating the entire legacy with a serene confidence and a deeply authentic personality. She has truly reshaped the modern perception of what a supermodel can be. Together, Gigi and Yolanda represent something more than just a striking resemblance. They stand as living proof that profound beauty, inner strength, and powerful ambition are not diluted over time. Instead, they evolve, gaining new layers of grace and grit with each new generation. Speaking of resemblances, consider Reese Witherspoon and Ava Philippe, who are so identical that they regularly cause confusion even among the Hollywood elite. It's not uncommon for a celebrity's child to bear a strong resemblance to their famous parent, but what we see with Reese Witherspoon and Ava Philippe transcends mere similarity. It's a near-perfect replication, a truly astounding case of genetics at work. If you happen to see them walking down the street, you'd be forgiven for thinking they were sisters or perhaps even identical twins, or maybe even the very same person, captured at two different points in time. Everything from their perfectly heart-shaped faces down to their famously sparkling blue eyes makes Reese and Ava undeniable evidence that genetics can produce something truly astonishing. The selfies they post together instantly go viral, and their appearances on the red carpet invariably cause a stir. Whenever Ava shares her own throwback photos, fans flood the comments asking, Reese, is that actually you? But their uncanny connection isn't only on the surface, it's also a deep emotional bond. Reese, celebrated for her vibrant intelligence and unwavering independence, has raised Ava not just to exist in the limelight, but to consciously decide how she wants to engage with it. And Ava, to her credit, navigates the delicate balance between inherited celebrity and a desire for personal privacy with an impressive and mature sense of grace. By the time she was 18, Ava had already effortlessly charmed the entire internet. Not through headline-grabbing scandals or desperate bids for the spotlight, but with an impressive poise and intelligence and a powerful sense of self that feels so familiar because we've witnessed it for years in her mother. There's a truly heartwarming quality to seeing the past and future of a Hollywood dynasty standing together. In the case of these mother-daughter duos, it's more than just shared genetics, it's a generational radiance. Then there's Angelina Jolie and Shiloh Jolie-Pitt, a literal reflection in real time. You see some celebrity family resemblances, and then you see something on a completely different level like this. The world collectively gasped the instant Shiloh Jolie-Pitt emerged on the red carpet at the Eternals premiere. For a brief moment, maybe even longer, the question on everyone's mind was, are we looking at a time-travelling Angelina? At only 15, Shiloh projected the same kind of effortless sophistication that turned her mother into a worldwide phenomenon. The wide-set eyes, the strong sculpted jaw, and that signature air of enigmatic calm were all there. She has no need to strike a pose for the cameras. Her very presence is magnetic, and that is more than enough to capture everyone's attention. But the likeness extends far beyond facial angles and bone structure. There is a quiet inner strength, a self-aware presence that is reminiscent of the Angelina we were first introduced to decades ago. Always daring yet deeply introspective, untamed but remarkably graceful Angelina, who was once the defiant daughter of Hollywood royalty herself, is now guiding a daughter who walks right beside her, not lost in her shadow but shining in a complementary light. That iconic moment on the carpet was far more than just a glamorous public appearance. It was like holding up a mirror that reflected across an entire generation. One young woman truly stepping into her own identity as another watches with the wise and understanding gaze of someone who has navigated that very journey. Shiloh doesn't need to make an effort to be like her mother. She just naturally is. And if this is merely a glimpse of what's to come, the world should definitely keep its eyes wide open.